Well, if you're just joining us, we're talking about the insurance sector, and just like all the other sectors, in the past 2 years, we've seen it negatively impacted and affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. However, the sector has been on a rise, and we are joined by Washington Ndegea, who will talk of this and much more. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Now, my first question, we've seen the negative impacts of the COVID-19 affecting all the other sectors, but then insurance company is on an upward trajectory. What are the key drivers of this particular sector?
Well, we talk about, when you talk about insurance, the industry going up, it's all about the more uptake of premiums, so to speak. Premiums are increasing, meaning there's also more business getting into the insurance sector. And you're right, it was depressed. Of course, I think every sector of the economy was depressed as far as COVID was happening.
Yes.
But we've seen that immediately that the economy went back, immediately the bottlenecks were removed. For example, like the lockdowns and everything was removed. Mm-hmm. Insurance premiums really shot up in a big margin, you know, compared between the last quarter, the last second quarter of last year, and or the last quarter of this year and last year. Mm-hmm. The comparison between the two means that, or rather, when you look at it, insurance premiums really shot up. Well, the question would be what's making the premiums really go up, or what's the outlook for the future of the insurance premiums, or rather insurance growth. And we believe that insurance is really coming up right now as we speak, because in fact there's a time I was telling someone that maybe people have realized they've got to start thinking that insurance can really play a good part in them. And especially remember, there was this issue of medical insurance, this issue of COVID not being covered.
True.
In terms of under an insurance cover, so to speak. And I think people got to think that if they had maybe a medical cover, because remember, medical cover, well, insurance is, most of it is, it's all compulsory. But for example, if you're employed, the employer might get insurance for you. But so people, being locked down, they must have really thought long and hard.
That they really needed it.
Yeah, they really needed it. So that when the economy now opened, I think people really went for these kind of covers, you know.
Okay. Now we'll touch on the medical cover later, especially for NHIF. But if you look at what COVID brought out, was that businesses could evolve and people found new opportunities. If you look at now the insurance sector, are there opportunities that this sector probably capitalized on and ensured that, okay, fine, there is money here, this is what we're going to look into?
Yeah, of course. I mean, look at, for example, during the COVID period, there are covers that came up. There are covers that remember, every time insurance companies are looking for covers to bring up, and covers that really are relevant to the members of the public. Because remember, anything can be insured. That's what you should know. Anything is insurable. The only thing is you've got to quantify the risk, and you come up with the premiums. So during the COVID period, new products came up, especially covering pandemics and epidemics. Remember, there's a difference between pandemics and epidemics. Well, to a certain extent, of course, a pandemic has got to be described by WHO as a pandemic. The moment is described as such in the insurance sector, it's either covered or not, but pandemics are not automatically covered as far as insurance policies are concerned. So you found that during the COVID period, they started now covering pandemics. And in fact, as we speak right now, there are several insurance companies I know that are covering COVID-related symptoms to the full. Yeah. Okay,
now in terms of now coverage, let's look at businesses, and probably Mama Mboga, because they're not really usually covered in terms of now their businesses particularly. But for example, they're wondering, why should my business be covered for a Mama Mboga?
You see, Vincent, what's happening is this. We have products in the micro insurance segment. Micro insurance goes for the small scale traders, the Mama Mbogas, the border riders, for example. They already covers there are already insurance products targeting those kind of clients in the insurance sector. And it is a deliberate effort towards that, because even IRA, the regulator, is also encouraging insurance companies to come up with micro insurance product for the small sector. They are there.
But what about the uptick?
Well, that's the point. The uptick is not very, very much because, remember, for example, from where I sit, I'm an insurance broker, you know? I'm an insurance intermediary. I'll sell what makes most money for me. If I find that the micro insurance segment is not making money for me as an intermediary, I'll not go for it. There's got to be an incentive for us to do it. Unless the insurance company itself will go for them. No, of course, insurance companies are not in the business of selling insurance. That business is with us. So what about the uptake? The uptake has got to be that we've got to be encouraged to take to Mama Boga that particular product. Because remember, most of these guys also will not come to an insurance company to ask for cover.
Yes.
No, they will not. We go for them down there so they can take. So the uptake, because of those and many other particular reasons, that's why you have most Mama Bogas, both the small scale traders don't have that. They don't have the product, so to speak. They haven't bought the products because we have not taken it to them.
So is it a question that now you people who are the brokers should now take the initiative and ensure that you reach the market?
Yeah, that's right. But also there's got to be the commission initiative for us. You know, yeah, you got to get the incentive commission-wise. It's got to be worth our time, so to speak. You know, it's a catch-22 situation. You've come to think about it. The products are there, but who's marketing them, so to speak?
Okay. Now, here's where now the government probably might come in place in terms of policies, because if you look at the MSMEs and the small businesses, they contribute the largest incomes to revenue, right?
True.
But if you look at around 70% of them don't go beyond 3 years. After 3 years, they're dead. So what is it that the government should also do to ensure that these businesses go beyond 3 years?
That's right.
Through cover.
Yeah, the government has to have a deliberate effort for this, for the small guys. I mean, and who's the government? The government is a political party in power. The political party in power has got to have a manifesto that specifically targets these small-scale traders. And the government also has to work with the private sector to do that. Because if the government worked with the industry, the insurance industry, then there'd be there'll be ways to reach the monanchi on the ground as far as insurance is concerned. Remember, insurance is very, very important for the economy. I always say that. Everywhere where insurance is robust, everywhere where insurance is big in terms of coverage of the population, the economy is also very, very strong. You know? And I like something about Kenya. Kenya has a very, very vibrant economy that's very positively. People in Kenya really take anything to do with money very, very positively. And to a certain extent, I think it's the failure of the particular government in place that actually fails the monarchy. The people. Fails the people. And even making the economy not sluggish, so to speak. Because remember, if, like now, the issue of NHIF, sorry, like the issue of NHIF, the more you have more coverage for the people, the better it is for everyone, as far as the risk taking is concerned. And the initiative, of course, is got to be a government initiative to make sure that everyone has a form of cover, be it medical, be it in their businesses. I mean, that's how you make sure that a society progresses economically and on in any other sphere. Okay,
now you touched on NHIF, and I said we'll cover it later. But my question with regards to NHIF is the government doing something wrong?
There's absolutely wrong. Let me tell you something, Vincent. There's absolutely nothing wrong with what the government is doing. It's doing perfectly something right. It's akin to what Obama was doing, the coverage for all. You remember when Obama had this medical thing that everyone had got to be, even the low income people. The government did something absolutely right. But the biggest problem we have in this country is corruption. You get the money doesn't do what it's supposed to do. I mean, how many scandals has NHIF gotten? You just need to Google. Countless. Money has been misused with NHIF, and that is why not many people are actually keen about it, you know? Because NHIF, you've got to remember, who are the people who actually messes up NHIF? But the main players themselves, who are the main players? The hospitals. Hospitals are the main people messing up NHIF by doing a lot of fraudulent claims. They inflate a claim. A claim is supposed to be, they inflate a claim up to something like 1,000%. You know, there's the fact that you've got a card. Then they go to claim. Then, when they do that, they trash the whole concept of NHIF. You know? Number two, there's also this issue of NHIF and insurance companies. Because NHIF has this issue of, they're saying they're going to target the small, the person on the ground, so that they have very low premiums. But then we come up and ask, because according to insurer, for you to come up with certain premiums, you go to come up with a certain data. In a curious science, you got to come up with something that is sustainable for the particular cover. So NHIF comes with ridiculously low premiums that we know, number one, they ain't gonna come through for, people are gonna buy, but they ain't gonna get the promises that they get. It's all about promises. They ain't gonna get the promises that are being given at the cover. Number two, this money, if they start misappropriating this money, I'm telling you, they're gonna kill everyone's morale. Because it's happened before. It's not only it is not only NHIF, even NSSF or not. So it's always happened. But do we have the political will to make this thing work? And everyone is talking about NHIF, like, you know, they're making it compulsory for everyone. They're even making it almost to the point of being taken to jail or something like that. You don't pay NHIF. That's not the way to popularize a product. These are products that should be voluntary.
Okay. Voluntary, you see. Now, if you look at the sector itself, and we're looking at the role of technology, we're seeing insurance companies, like you mentioned, actuarial science, analytics.
Yeah.
We're seeing artificial intelligence coming in play.
Yeah.
Now, how important is digital, or rather technological advancement in this particular sector?
There's several companies, not insurance companies, but people who want to be to come into the sector and help in AI, artificial intelligence, as far as collecting data, for example. There are several companies that have developed very, very quick data, such that, for example, if you get a motor accident, all you have to do is you take a photo of the particular car, it notes the time and the locality of the place. It has a GPS location, and that is very, very, very good, especially in reducing fake claims, fraudulent claims. If an accident happens, it's taken, and all that data is fed through the claim process of the particular product that the app. It's an app. It's an app that being used to collect that kind of data in motor insurance. Even in medical insurance, the same thing is being taken. Because, like I was just mentioning to you right now, there's nothing as medical insurance has really been affected in a big, big way. Fraud in the medical insurance sector is big. And like I'm telling you, sorry to repeat myself, it's all about the hospitals doing the same thing. So AI, artificial intelligence, collecting data in real time can even help map out the areas of concern where insurance company feels that maybe a particular hospital, or maybe a particular disease, or maybe what is prone to fraud, such that we reduce that using these apps.
Well, usually when you ask people who are really not taking up insurance covers, is the trust. There is no that particular trust. Will this digital evolution bring that?
It can bring trust. Digitally, for you to get trust, let me tell you, Vincent, for you to really get trust in insurance company is how fast are they paying your claims. That's the bottom line. Anything else is just mumbo jumbo, you know. Anything else is neither here nor there. But the point is this: when you get a claim, how fast is it paid? Whether it's a fraudulent claim or not, the insurance company should quickly know that this is a fraudulent claim, it can be paid, and you are told immediately. Companies in this country, what are they doing? They start, the moment you get a claim, they start playing around with you and wasting your time. 6 months later, they tell you can't pay. You know? That's the kind of thing that we need to remove from this sector. People have got to have trust back again. And I had a session the other day with the Commissioner of Insurance, and we agreed we need to do something as far as infusing or encouraging people to trust insurance companies again. Because remember, these are promises industry. These are not an industry selling a product. These are industry based on promises. You don't come through for your promises, how are people gonna trust you? And as we speak right now, the level of mistrust in this industry is big time. And if you followed me in my writings on social media and whatever, I even write insurance articles, you'll tell particular companies that I've mentioned that, for example, are not even paying commissions to us. You know, I mean, sometimes we don't understand what's going on. They are not paying claims, they're not paying commissions, they're paying. So, why is an insurance company opening its doors in the first place? If you can't pay claim, if you can't pay an intermediaries, brokers or agents commissions, what exactly is happening in the sector? You know, it's a big issue right now, and it's getting worse by the day.
All right. Now, looking at what's happening in Ukraine with the war, what do you think is going to be with the maritime insurance, given that the supply chain is likely to be interfered with?
Yeah.
But at the same time, people want to get their goods in the country, right?
That's it. Oh, wow.
So is this something that the sector should look into?
Maritime insurance, that's for the big players in the world. Talk about Lloyd's of London. Is the biggest as far as insuring marine cargo is concerned. In Kenya, I don't think we even have that level of insurance in this country. Much as they encourage people to do marine insurance, but the real big players are actually in Europe. And I can tell you, for example, it becomes, when war breaks out, there's always those clauses in an insurance product, in an insurance treaty, in an insurance contract that says, if war breaks out, we're going to cover this or not cover this. Now, when issues to do with war, like in the Ukraine and Russia is happening, the premiums, of course, have to go up.
True.
Either the ships, we stop supplying goods to the rest of the world from that area, or the premiums are really going to come up, you know? And even goes to the extent of Lloyd's of London itself, or the insurance industry players that are protecting those ships, even covering, the premiums will go up because they give protection to those kind of ships, you know? So wartime is very, very expensive to do business. It's very, very expensive.
All right.
You know, but if it happens, there's always a form of insurance coverage that's already in place.
Okay. Now, you sort of touched a little bit on the outlook for the sector, let's say this year, and given in mind it's a new government that is going to come in, we have politics going up and down, politicians going up and down. So what's your projection for the entire sector this year, generally?
Well, politics affects economy in a big, big way. Politics. And like I was just saying earlier, if you have a political party with a good manifesto that focused on improving an economy, then that's exactly what you're going to go for. But right now, well, you know what you're asking me, Vincent? You're asking me whether Azimio or whatever they are good or bad.
No. No. It's all about whether the sector will continue improving and why, or whether the sector will go down and why.
But from history, we always see that either in an economic, in a political year, in a political year, not political year, but in a year when we are electing the various offices politically, the economy always goes down because of that fear, that apprehension of what is going to happen. What's going to happen? What if this presidential candidate gets in? What's going to happen for the economy? Then you find immediately after the elections and stuff, everything goes down. Everything starts calming down. People start saying, "Oh, we know that political candidate. We know how far or how much they can do." But at this particular time, there's a lot of apprehension. I remember some time back in 2007 and stuff like that. So many businesses were sold, and people relocated, and they've never come back today. To date, they've never been back. They relocated out of this country, went to UK and wherever, you know. So there's always that apprehension. Just like now, right now we are running into the elections in August. There's always that apprehension, and people are really trying to guess what exactly is going to happen. But I can tell you that the real businessmen, and that's why I say, politics is very, very good. Well, politics can be good or bad for an economy. There are businessmen who look at what is happening right now as we speak, and they start winding up. But immediately after the process, then everything starts coming back to normal, so to speak.
Well, you've been a player in the industry for quite a while, right?
Yeah.
From your own understanding, compared to the COVID-19 time, at the height of it, that is 2020, and now, do you see the figures going below that time, or will still maintain either katikati or?
Well, you see, for insurance, you see, there's so many factors at play. COVID has just ended. So, well, COVID is neither here nor there right now as we speak. In fact, no one is even talking about it. Then, they're talking about Russia and Ukraine.
True.
It's like COVID has suddenly disappeared. I don't know how that thing works. But during the COVID period, we saw that downward trend as far as economy was concerned. Now the lockdown has the lockdown has been lifted, and economy is coming up. Then the election year now starts again. What do you expect? During an election year, everything has to go down. People, especially, because people apprehension. They're very, very apprehensive as far as the politics is concerned. I remember, like, what happened in 2007 is that so many people, during the flare-up, you never know what anything can happen in a political year. Anything can happen. And most people will hold on to their money. People will not start spending their money, for example, on insurance or, for example, on covers that don't particularly cover political violence. It's called PVT, political violence and terrorism, So even, we can't say in the insurance industry political violence and PVT covers are going to increase, but the volume of business, we don't expect it to increase as far as the politics is concerned. Okay. And especially the period between July, August, September, like a 3-month period.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Well, that was Washington Ndegea on the performance of this particular industry, which is insurance industry. And we take a short break, and when we return, we'll be joined by Makali John on the sporting activities that happened during the weekend. Don't go away.